Welcome back to the 0 to 7 podcast, where each week we talk about our strategies and business decisions to reach our goal of 0 to 7 figures of income in just 1 year. So you guys met us last week. Again, I'm Dean. I'm the marketing director for Windowsill and Lime Green Clean, and we've got Brad, the owner, the chief money flinger. We've got a lot to talk about. A lot happened this week.
Yes, it did.
We're gonna go through kind of our mistakes that we made this week, as well as some of the wins that we had, and then finally closed out with the big number reveal for week 2. Spoiler alert: it's not that big.
Guys, gotta wait till the end to figure it out.
I would say most of this week that really comes from. Most of this week we spent problem solving. For one specific thing. Like we had a lot of issues with our CRM software.
Yes.
And even though it's cleaning specific, can you talk about a little bit like what our problems that we had discovered?
Yeah. So I think the biggest thing is we're so spoiled with our other business that the CRM is so nice. And the scheduler is so nice. It's all set up like exactly the way we've always wanted it. So we were trying to find something cleaning related that does those same exact things. And some of the problems we ran into is double booked. Like that just doesn't work. Can't have.
So basically the way that the scheduler was working, what was happening is as we're scheduling things, you can put in something, you can schedule automatically, or you can have customers schedule it online. And like those two halves like weren't communicating with each other.
No.
So if you've got a manual booking and you've got an automatic booking, like it was going through and double booking us. And remind you, like at this point, we only have one person cleaning.
Yeah.
Like a double booking isn't just like, oh, we'll just send somebody out that has to drive further. Like
Yeah.
Brad went and cleaned a house.
Yeah.
We started a cleaning business so that Brad would never have to clean again. What does he has to do? Is he cleans other people's stuff now?
Yeah, but hey, we did train somebody else up, so we're actually we're up to 2 people now.
We did. We've got.
And actually, that was
Chris
what we did during that day too. So that actually that worked out good. Chris came and helped us, and actually we made sure he was all trained up for that day. We did it. We got those cleaned up, and then we
survived 3 double bookings.
Yeah. That's what we did this week. What's some of the other things we didn't do so well this week?
So we still staying on the CRM. Like we also found out that it doesn't have invoices.
Oh yeah.
Like there's no way to send people an invoice. They have to pay up front, or we have to do it manually.
Yeah. Or we have to find a way to call them. So what we determined is like we have to think about it when we're scaling to have like when we have like 50 appointments on for that day. How do you collect payment? You don't want to spend, what I calculated out is if you spend like 5 minutes a day, if our admin spends 5 minutes a day trying to get payment from people. So how it worked was you had to get payment up front with it to actually schedule it. So you had to call them on the phone and be like, hey, what's your credit card number? And then you had to put it in. There was no way to send them something to then pay. You had to do it over the phone, or they had to schedule online. So, over time, like scaling that's not going to work. Like you can't, if there's 50 appointments a day and Mandy, our admin, has to call every single person to get the payment, that's not going to work. Like that's going to be that's like half her day just trying to collect payment now on top of trying to schedule more appointments. So that's not going to work. It needs to be super easy for somebody to pay. So like, and also, if somebody's messaging us on Facebook, we want to keep them on that same platform. We don't want them to leave that platform where they're already communicating us, and that's the way they like to pay. So that was where we're like, we don't want to tell them to go from Messenger to then call the number so we can then pay. That's not going to work out. So
really, like it comes down to a customer service thing.
Yes.
With Windowsill, we've got this platform where no matter where they're booking, whether it's on Facebook, whether it's on Instagram, whether it's on Yelp, whatever it's on, they're right there. Keep them right there and just talk
Yes.
to them through that. And you shouldn't have to take it anywhere else. I mean,
Yeah. That's just general customer service right there. Just
right.
Don't take them somewhere else where they're not already at.
Like, just wherever they're at, just talk to them right
Yep.
there. And like, I'm guilty of this too in my own business. Like, I take people from one platform that's for planning weddings, and I take them then to emails like, oh, I want to put you in my CRM. But realistically, people are on that platform. You don't want to take them from there, just wherever they're at. If you book somebody through Instagram, book them through Instagram.
Yeah. And where this would be reference to people is, let's say somebody's on TikTok and they don't even have a Facebook account. You wouldn't say, hey, go to my Facebook group and go message me on Facebook. And they're like, well, now I got to go create an account. Well, this is way too many steps for me to do it. I just won't do it.
And then you lose the sale.
Yep, exactly.
I mean, pretty simple is that you want to remove those barriers.
Yep.
And I mean, really, a 5-minute process of booking, like you mentioned, like would take up Mandy's whole day. I mean, 5 minutes can cripple a business. I mean, that's what it comes down to. If you, especially when we get towards the end of this thing and we have to reach so many bookings per day, it's not scalable.
Yeah.
You need more automation than spending 5 minutes going to one page, clicking one thing, and then going to another page and having to click another thing just to get it to work, just so that you can make sure that you're not double booked and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, really, like, the software was promising at first, but when it came down to it and actually running the business, the back end that the business had to do was just wasn't
there. And what we did, and what they always say is like, model what works, right? So we found somebody else that was using that platform. I found out that's what they were using. That's what they were running their business on. And they were doing good with it. But since we ran another business already and figured out what things work for customer service, we knew they had to be in this business too to make it work. So that's where we're like, well, that's not going to work. So let's move to something we can work with. Yeah,
already we're starting to notice, like, the people that are very successful in the business, we're kind of finding those areas that they're missing. And for the most part, especially in like the cleaning industry, it's customer service.
Yeah.
As simple as that. And that's kind of the stuff that we're already great at. What was the next biggest issue we had this week?
Well, did we actually find a new one?
We'll get there. We'll get there in the wins section. We're gotta whet the appetite of the CRMs to come. But so let's talk about our next biggest issue that we had this week. We're not going to be naming names for obvious reasons, but we're not here to smear any platforms or any people. We're just talking about our business issues and what we have to do with that. So, what was the biggest thing?
Biggest thing, wins or losses?
Or for mistakes this week?
Mistakes?
Yes. Reviews.
We've
got reviews.
I think what this comes down, so what we learned a couple things over this week, and reviews of getting reviews of like good cleaning, bad cleaning, like what was actually done right. And I think our biggest mistake this week was actually started last week, because when we went to go schedule stuff, the thing we didn't know how, like when we scheduled all these for this week, this was all last week when we were still learning the first method
what it means to clean a house. Yeah.
And like what time frame, like how long does it take? So what we had is we had things starting at 10 o'clock and then we were going to get something done and then go to the next one by 1, where we're like, well, actually we need to start at 8 and then we'll be done and ready for the one at 1 o'clock. So I think it started last week with our time. We needed to spend more time at houses, make sure we had everything done correctly, versus let's see if we can get like 3 or 4 in a day. No, right. It's a whole different world from what we're used to from the other business.
Right. With real estate photography, with window still, you can hit 3 to 4 houses,
easy,
and still have some free time. Like it's not a huge deal. But when it comes to cleaning houses, like obviously it takes more time. But we thought we had that plenty of time built in. But really, like we needed to almost 2x it.
Yeah.
And we had a system in place. So when we talk about reviews, these are internal reviews. We have a system in place where after somebody gets a cleaning, they get an email. Did you have a good experience or a bad experience? If they say a good experience, then it takes them to our other platforms for them to leave a review on like Facebook, Google, Yelp, all that kind of stuff that are public. If they say bad, it just comes up with not a form, but it has them send an email to us with what happened. It allows us to address things without giving people an easy way to smear the business, right?
Yeah.
And like, to be honest, like, all of the problems with those reviews really came back to the system that we were developing.
Yeah.
We had missing stuff on checklists. We had assumptions within the cleaning description that necessarily doesn't get communicated to the individual person that's cleaning, and just a lot of stuff like that. So like, talk about some of those. Talk about like some of the stuff that we discovered that we were missing.
Yeah. Like, I think our first one where we didn't think too much of it, like very specific one was like trash cans. Like when I went out and did it, I made sure I took all the trash out and put it in the trash can, where we didn't have that on our checklist to make sure we went over it. And the person we had going out and doing it, and they did really good job doing the other stuff, but that one wasn't on our checklist. So like just the very minute things of that, and that's kind of the things we're learning. And then we also learned, one of the other things we learned is the vacuum that we got doesn't make lines on the carpet. So it looks like, so since it doesn't make lines on the carpet, it was cleaned, but since it doesn't make lines on the carpet, it doesn't look like it was done because you don't see the lines. So
right.
The actual
I
effect
actually did
of
not
seeing
know
that.
Yeah.
So we didn't. That was something we learned this week. We didn't know that, so we tried a different vacuum.
Oh, I hadn't realized we had tried a different vacuum too. But
well, we did that yesterday.
That's what it is. It's like, people aren't there to. Sometimes people aren't at the house to actually watch us, and so like, how do we guarantee of like, hey, yeah, no, we did that, even though there's not, evidence of it, especially with carpets. Because carpets are...
Because you know how it is. You're like, you want to go to your home and you get done vacuuming. You're like, oh, I see the lines. It looks clean.
This is nice.
So we have to give that effect.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, that's pretty much it for our mistakes this week. I would say another mistake probably is we didn't run any ads. But because we had so much going on with trying to figure out not only our CRM and everything, we kind of just didn't have enough bandwidth to go through and like continue business running. So
we spent a lot of time trying to go over that CRM.
I tried so much time.
Yeah, Dean over here is editing, or I'm getting next CRM. I went through like 3 or 4 a day. Like I called every single one, and I'm like, first off, it was like the things I looked for was first off, if I can message them, did they actually respond? Because then they got customer service.
Number one,
you have to be able to, like, this system that you're going to use, this CRM you're going to use, you're going to live with that forever. Like you have to think about that you're going to look at that platform every single day. Is it going to be worth your time if you have to go, I'm going to run my entire business on this and I can't get a hold of anybody for 2 days?
If you can't get a hold of anyone on your CRM platform, like your CRM platform runs your business.
Yeah.
Like you are directly trading your time for money with a CRM. And so if you can't get an answer with something going wrong, like that's it. You're in the red.
So those are like that was like the biggest thing I would do. I'd message them, and I also asked them if I could call them. And I called like all the ones that would call. Some of them called like a day or two later. Some of them called like literally the second I put my number in. It was like on their dialer. It just boom, done. My phone rang. It was like, oh yeah.
Which is so helpful. So there's a couple that we tried out. We're not gonna name names except for the one that we ended up choosing. We'll talk about that a little bit, just because I think we've so far we've had a really good experience and we want to get their name out there.
Yeah.
But so we tried. Again, these are service industry specific. So specific to cleaning. We're not going to be talking about like Zoho or Salesforce or any of those kind of like big ones. But you tried one that was pretty much the most expensive. Right? Yeah. Like it was like, we're talking like towards the end of the year, if we're meeting our goals, like it's going to be like $700 a month kind of thing. Yeah. Like it was expensive. So kind of talk about a little bit what you discovered with that one.
So there was a couple of there was several different ones, price range all over the board, like from ones that were like based off of how many cleans you did, based off of like how many users you have. Some of them have unlimited users. Some of them are like a whole different price range, anywhere between $100 like between $0 and $200 was the basic normal ones we ended up finding out. We had one of them that there was one specific thing. It was actually a really nice platform. Looks awesome. They didn't have online scheduling where like it could show someone's availability or anything like that. You had to actually schedule it, and then we had to go in manually and put it in there. And we asked them, like, they're like, even if you paid us like $50,000, we still wouldn't go do it. we tried. We were trying to get them to build us something.
And they were really great at responding.
Oh yeah, they were.
We got on a phone call, we got on a Zoom call with them. And we brought up like, hey, like, by the way, like, what's up with this not having an automatic scheduler thing? Like, that's kind of,
this is general business.
That's a key thing. Again, this is like the same problem that we had with the first one. Was it had it, but they just didn't communicate with each other.
Yeah.
And so we asked like, hey, is this something that's going to be at least coming to your platform? Because, everything else that we saw, we liked. Like, it was good. We enjoyed their customer service. And they said that they were going to have a meeting with their CEOs. Like they were in charge of that meeting.
The next day.
Like the next day or something. And so she brought it up, and basically they said, like, even if you paid us $50,000, which is absurd, right? They don't think they'll do it, which is just kind of then just makes the CRM just not work, especially for our, like, I'm kind of surprised that they've gotten this far in the industry without having that. So that was very interesting. All right. So the one that we ended up choosing, do you want to talk about it? Because you were the one that found them.
Okay. So I did lots and lots and lots and lots of searching. So we ended up finding them. I filled out, it was actually one I looked at a month ago. I actually saw it. I didn't sign up for it. I wish I did then. But we signed up for it, and it was literally like within a minute they called us right then. And he's like, well, when you looking to look at it, when you looking to review it? I was like, today. He's like, how about in 15 minutes? And within 15 minutes, he got like 4 people on a Zoom call to come show me how the whole platform worked. It was like amazing. And it wasn't just like people, like it was people that were a part of like building
programming. Yeah. Like they built it. And so like they were all just like on it and ready.
Yeah. And it got better. Once we signed up, like I was ready to go. Like they have an app, they have everything all customized to us, and like the app is like our name and everything on there. So it's like it's all wait till we show you guys that. But like it was just customer service, boom, they were ready. Like they even put us in a WhatsApp. They had us like all of our people. If there's anything we needed, we just messaged them, boom, done. And it's like take care of. They show exactly how to do it. And we haven't come up with like first off, we're like, well, where's the problem at in this one? Because with every other platform, there's always been one problem. Like, do they not have invoices? Do they not have this? Do they not have scheduling?
Drawback, yeah.
And every single time we send them something, they're like, here's how you do it. We're like, it's not the matter of, oh, we don't have that. It's here's how you do it. That was just crazy.
I don't think there's one problem yet that they've been like, nope, we don't do that.
Yeah. And even if we did come up with them, they even told us in the first call, they're like, if you come up with something, we would rather you suggest us new ideas so then we can start building them to make the platform better, because they would rather make the whole platform better, because then it just helps everybody out versus just going, oh, this is what we got. We're not doing anything new. So exactly. I think it's the difference between, and that's in our other business, the thing when the developers actually work for the company that runs the CRM versus a third-party developer. Like I've seen that several times. Like so, and I think some of these companies we were looking at, the developer was a third party too. So, and it's when you have to sell the business owner on the idea of you need this, and then he has to go sell the developer on building it.
He has to go pay for it then.
Yeah. Versus boom, the developers are here. The developers work right with the company. Here's the idea. They're like, I see it, done. So, I think that's a huge difference too.
It is. And so and you mentioned the app, like the other softwares that we're looking at, they have apps available.
Yep.
They'll, once it's downloaded, like it'll have like our logo and stuff in it, but it was always somebody else's name.
Yeah.
Right. You had to download XYZ CRM, and then the person logging in would then
type in our name. Branding. Yeah. They would type in our name to show up the company name, and then they would get in there.
Right. Whereas with this, which basically means like our competitors are also on those platforms.
Yeah.
It's not just us.
They could search the wrong name and they just go pick another company.
Right.
Oh, I like this one.
And then not to mention, like, with this new one, they were building us an app. So, like, they've got a preset thing that will integrate with their CRM, but they custom brand it to us. They'll search our name on the App Store and our app pops up. It's a much more, like, it's just as integrated as the others, but the branding is on point.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the crazy part, is that they literally just go build you a whole new app. And it's just like, oh, it's awesome.
And from their business standpoint, like, they've got everything all coded in there. All they have to do is really drag and drop it with the right logo and and they gave us very specific parameters for, like, colors and what size logos and everything. So, like, there's not a whole lot they have to do that they haven't programmed already. But the experience from our, like, business standpoint and for our customers is huge. It's a huge value for us, and that's kind of why we ended up also really, falling in love with this. We don't have the app yet. Like, they're still working on putting it together. So, like, once that happens, maybe it'll suck, but if it's anything like the rest of this, it'll be great.
Yeah, especially because the ones that they show on there for the customer side app, and I mean, it's a very basic app. It's a matter of schedule. Here's my last appointments. Here's how I pay. So there's it's not too complicated. It's not like we're playing some fancy game app or something like that we need to get to all these levels or something like that. It's like, no, you schedule, pay your bill, and availability is pretty much it. So very basic things.
Have we? I don't think we've said the name yet.
We haven't.
It's brilliant.
Brilliant.
So like
brilliant.net.
Brilliant.net. We'll leave the link in the show notes. It's BRILION, only one L. If you put the second L, a town in Wisconsin comes up. So
I did that earlier.
That today.
Yeah.
But all right, so that brings us to our numbers. Really, that was kind of all of our wins. So so last week we talked about our ad. We ran an ad and we talked about how much we put on the schedule. But that was kind of difficult to calculate. So that, like, now we're just going to be talking about how much we've actually received in payments.
Yeah, and we'll just do that going forward. It'll be easier because that's realistically the number that matters, because that's where we're going at, because who knows.
So last week we were at 3,800 in the bank.
Yep.
With everything on the schedule and everything. Where are we at for this week?
We're at 4,600 is where we're at.
4,600.
So we only got about 800 or so extra from last week. But we got lots of good things coming. So
yeah, and I mean, we've got a lot of people committing to weekly and like bi-weekly, like higher than the percentage that we have, like to meet our goal. Like, we have to have a certain number of percentage of people to repeat cleans, and as of right now, I believe we are higher than that. We've really kind of gone through and made sure that we get a lot of people that are like ready for cleans every single week. But yeah, I mean, we're as for how small of the number is difference between last week and this week. I think it's a misnomer because of how much time we spent on other stuff. We have no advertisements right now. So
and we focused on the actual product.
Mm-hmm.
We spent more time focusing on that product than anything else. So, but that's where we're at. That's all we can be. If we're only at, that's as much as we're at. That's as far as we're at. So.
Yep. All right. Well, I think that's all that we got time for today. Thanks again, guys, for everyone for tuning in for week 2 of the 0 to 7 podcast. If you enjoyed this podcast, be sure to leave us a rating, or if you're watching us on YouTube, thank you so much. Leave a like and leave any comments below about what you want to talk to us. If you've got questions or stuff that you want us to cover in future episodes, just let us know and we'll do it. So, all right. See you guys next week.
See you guys later.